The last macromolecule I will talk to you about is lipids. There are many types of lipids, but the most important type of lipid is the phospholipid. The reason why it's the most important one is because it makes up most of our cell membrane. And the actual structure of the phospholipid is something like this. It has a hydrophilic head and a hydrophobic tail. And what this hydrophobic tail and hydrophilic head allow is for small particles to go through, but bigger ones can't. And they have to go through a protein that are embedded in the lipid bilayer. And the thing with the head and the tail is that it does not allow water to go through. The head does like water, but the tails, they don't. So water can't go through this, through the membrane itself. They have to go through another type of protein. And what this allows is for it controls the movement of proteins and other type of things in and out of the cells. That's why they're some of the most important types of lipids found in our body. What you see right here, this is cholesterol, another type of lipid. It falls into the category of lipids. And what this allows is for our membranes to stretch or contract when it's very warm. The molecules separate and the cholesterol actually keeps them together. And when it's cold and they contract, the cholesterol allows them to have a separation between each other. And it's another important part of our cell membrane. Down here you can see sort of the structure of a saturated and unsaturated lipid. So you can see saturated is because it has these hydrogens surrounding the carbon molecules, while the unsaturated don't have, in all the carbons, they don't have just hydrogen. Like over here you can see, since they don't have hydrogen here, and there's a different bond here, it allows it to bend. Saturated can't bend. An example of saturated lipids are found in butter. That's why butter has a lot of energy. It's not the best for you, but these hydrogen bound to the carbon, these bonds have a lot of energy, which is the reason why butter has a lot of energy. An example of unsaturated is sunflower oil. It's not saturated. It's a little better for you, but it's still not completely good. It has a lot of energy, but not as much as saturated. Now, moving on to the actual reactions that you have to know for the AP exam. The most important reactions are dehydration synthesis, hydrolysis, and oxidation and reduction. So here I'll explain them one by one, starting with dehydration synthesis. Dehydration synthesis basically means these two molecules, I couldn't find a better picture, but over here you'll see this, you'll see functional groups over here, the surrounding molecules, and what dehydration synthesis actually does is that it takes away the two hydrogens and an oxygen, and that's why it's called dehydration. This part, D means away or not. So it dehydrates, meaning it takes away the water. And synthesis, this word means combine or put together. So what this does is that by taking away the water, or these molecules right here, it bonds these two different atoms, these two different compounds, into a new compound or phosphate group. Over here we have the reverse of this process. It's called hydrolysis. Hydro meaning water, and lysis meaning to cut. And the importance of knowing these roots are because whenever you see hydro, even if you don't know the word, you'll know it's talking about water. when we see this type of word, like it has lysis in its name, you know it's talking about cutting something or taking apart. An example can be lysosomes. You have the same type of uh, root, so you know their job is to like cut or take a break apart. And in this case, we have glucose and fructose. So over here we have a sucrose molecule, and the way you can separate them for our body to actually use the glucose or the fructose depending on what it needs is you add water to to this part over here, the bond, and it forms this OH right here and this HO over here. This is the same as was over here because these are dehydration and hydrolysis. They are opposite processes and they lead to opposite results. Now the final important biochemical reaction I think you should know is oxidation and reduction. Same as with dehydration and hydrolysis, they're opposite reactions. And you'll learn this mnemonic in class. It's called oil rig. And what this basically means is oxidation is losing. And what is it losing? It's actually losing an electron. While reduction is gaining an electron. As you can see, this picture is a pretty good picture. I think it's salt. I'm not sure, but it certainly looks like it. And the molecular structure of salt, of table salt, is NaCl. And what this means is, usually you'll see something like this. Here, you know this part over here, the sodium, got oxidized, meaning it lost its electron. So now it has less electrons than protons. So this part over here is actually more positive than this one. This one gained an electron, so it is reduced. And it's important to know why this works like this. It allows for ionic bonds, and it's a very important reaction when you're going through the more chemical parts of biology. And I think these four or three processes are the most important reactions you should know for when you're studying AP biology. So if you memorize oil rig and learn some of the roots, I think you'll be okay during the test.